Well, welcome back to Rare Elvis Photos. I've been getting a lot of people asking me to talk about Elvis Presley in his early days, and especially the whole trip to the Grand Ole Opry. So, a very interesting thing about the Grand Ole Opry is that there's so many different stories and so many different legends about Elvis Presley. It's the first and only time Elvis ever went there. Some say he got a polite reception. Some said he had a cold reception a few times. They said he got booed. But since there's no live recording of it, we don't really know. We do know that he did perform Blue Moon of Kentucky. A blue moon, keep it shining bright. Very hopped up version of Blue Moon, keep on shining bright, going. And Bill Monroe supposedly wasn't very happy, according to legend. That being said, there was no drums that were allowed on the Opry during that time. And of course, DJ Fontana was playing drums. So I think it might have been maybe not the best fit, but like I said, legend says that Jim Denny, told Elvis to go back to driving a truck, kid. You'll never make it as a singer. But we do know that Jim Denny was interviewed. He said he never said that. It might have been attributed to Eddie Bond, who Elvis Presley auditioned for in Memphis back in the day, in his band. And Elvis, as legend had it, spent, and really not even just legend, he was scared that Bill Monroe wanted to break his jaw because everybody talked about how Bill was so mad that Elvis stole his song. But then you go back to the interviews later on and things that Elvis, that Bill Monroe said. And Bill Monroe was happy. The biggest royalty checks he ever got was from Elvis. Now, according to the Opry, shortly after that, Elvis spotted Bill Monroe. He started pacing toward Elvis, and Elvis thought he was going to get a tongue lashing, but then Monroe walked up to Elvis and, to his relief, simply stated, "I liked your song." 2 days later, Monroe went into the studio and recorded an Elvis version of the song. That's another legend. I don't think it was 2 days later that Elvis went in there, that Bill Monroe went in there and recorded a hopped-up version. So that night, Ernest Tubb was also booked to play. Now, Ernest was the father of Honky Tonk, and he was also the host of the Midnight Jamboree, which was down there at the Ernest Tubb Record Shop. My wife and I actually played down there with Ron Williams, the son of Leona Williams, wife of Merle Haggard. Very historical down there. But, the legend says, or eyewitnesses say, when Ernest saw a shirtless Elvis backstage at the Opry tearing up his shirt over a less than well-received performance, he went over to Elvis, offered him one of his own shirts, put his arm around him and said, "Son, don't pay any mind to those people out there. You got something that those people just can't see. You keep doing what you're doing and you're going to be just fine. Look, I got a little radio show I do at the record shop right after the Opry. Why don't you come on down and get on stage?" Elvis did, and he was much more warmly received there than he was at the Opry. So that had to be very positive to Elvis. A few weeks earlier, Ernest Tubb had actually been introduced to a young female singer named Virginia Patterson Hensley. He took a liking to her, invited her to the Opry. So that night she was actually watching Ernest Tubb, Elvis Presley, and Bill Monroe perform at the very historic Opry. Tubb also invited her that night to perform at the Midnight Jamboree, and she met Elvis. The reason why you're seeing pictures of Patsy Cline is, and of course now you're seeing Johnny Cash, but before Patsy Cline was that her real name was actually Hensley. And she changed her name to Patsy Cline as a stage name. So that was October 2nd, 1954, and there was magic in the air that night. Very historical night. Just wanted to bring you some cool little history about Elvis and how it intertwines with Ernest Tubb, Bill Monroe, and Patsy Cline. TCB, till next time, this is Rare Elvis Photos.